Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Nona from thealliancelover.com. I have another flamboyant gaming style video for you today. We are looking at some of Debbie Harry's and Liza Minnelli's outfits. If you love their style or if you want to cultivate a more powerful image, I hope that this video helps you find some ways to infuse your wardrobe or certain outfits with the techniques or the patterns that they use, because these women are only 5'3" to 5'4", and their image really is so expansive. If you look at pictures of them, I don't think they look particularly petite, especially when there's no other reference figure, as in they are by themselves. They look a lot taller, a lot longer, which is quite common for a lot of flamboyant gamines. So let's get started. All right, let's start off with some of Debbie Harry's looks. Sorry if some of the photos are just bad quality. It's kind of hard to find super high resolution photos of some of these stars from the past decades before tons of paparazzi photos and lots of high definition photos are made super mainstream and available. So if you can't see, try to squint. All right, so what makes these outfits work so well on Debbie? First of all, there's that very fitted and angled element, especially on top with these cropped jackets or like these shorter jackets. They have a very strong shape to them. They are really outlining the squareness of her shoulders, and they are tapering to the more square or linear or streamlined shape of her torso. Lots of flamboyant gamines don't have a little tiny curvy, curvaceous, soft, fleshy hourglass waist. Yes, they can have small waists, but most of the time it's more of an angular taper instead of a soft curve. And a lot of the times they have a bit of a wider rib cage. Maybe their hips are also a little bit smaller compared to, say, their shoulders. So what happens is that they can look a little bit broad in the torso, a little straight, and with weight gain, a lot of flamboyant gamines can get a little bit stocky. So that might be one way you can figure out if this style is the most resonant for you, or if this ID is the most resonant for you. Where do you gain weight and how do you look when you gain weight? Anyways, regardless of your weight, this kind of jacket or, outer layer or even blouse, if it's heavy enough on top with the corners and the nice tapering or the angles, staying close to the body without trying to impose an hourglass kind of figure or a very corseted, curvy effect, looks great because it really does resonate with the natural features of your frame. Again, the system is all about playing up your actual features, not trying to balance them out, not trying to hide anything. It's really about kind of telling the truth, exaggerating the truth almost, or picking the different parts of your body to exaggerate. So when you wear this nice sort of cropped, more fitted jacket, you're really setting up your legs to be presented in a more long line, and you can wear less tight pants or less tight trousers. You can wear tight ones as well, but there's this beautiful effect that comes from mixing a very structured or tighter, more tailored top portion with a slightly baggier or just straight or more softly fitted pant situation, because you get that mix of tight and then just a little bit voluminous. Again, the staccato or high contrast outfit is just what we're going for in terms of flamboyant gamine styles. You need the yin and the yang together in an outfit. You need them to exaggerate each other. You need them to look dynamic and present and playful, not moderate, not balanced, not subdued. They need to be both very present. All right, moving on to some other looks. Debbie looks great when she highlights her legs with a more slim fit. So the opposite of the previous side where she highlighted the shape of her shoulders and really set up the legs to look long with a bit more volume or with a little bit of extra bulk. Here she's kind of downplaying the shape of her shoulders and not drawing as much attention to the corners of her upper body so that she can really focus on presenting her legs in an almost bare-legged approach. And by bare-legged, I mean they're either bare or the material is so fitted that her legs look bare. So to do this, wear a top or a top portion, even a dress that is very short, that has a little bit of volume to it so that it's not super duper tight. If you wear something extremely tight on the top and on the bottom, you're going to have to try harder and be more intentional about creating different layers, different segments, different textures, and different weights. So it's just easier from the get-go to kind of ease up on the top portion, maybe add a little bit of extra volume, maybe soften it up a little bit with the volume or with the cut, add just a little bit of roundness so you can really present that bold, direct leg line like she does in these three outfits. Also, if you have a similar body shape to Debbie, she's 5'3", she is quite compact, a little bit more streamlined throughout the torso. It is a little bit more important to highlight the waist much higher on the body. So if you try this kind of look without bringing the waist up and you want to bring the waist to below the belly button, it's going to skew the proportions of that outfit. The upper body is going to look a little bit too voluminous with that extra bulk. And then it's going to look longer. It's going to overpower the legs, so you won't have that leggy look. You're not really going to be setting up the legs to take center stage or be the visual center of the outfit. So bring that waist up. All right, so here is an example of a leggy look, but with more contrasting elements up top. So these looks are a little bit more form-fitting up top, but she is wearing high contrast elements. Like I mentioned, if you're going to wear something tighter on top, you need to try harder to create more of that staccato rhythm. So you need to really pay attention to how you're pairing fabrics and prints. So here in this picture, she has a much more heavy leather, I guess a vest or a short sleeve jacket. I'm not sure exactly what you call that, a leather top. And it has a little bit of bulk to it, as you can see, and she's still creating a higher waisted look. Like I mentioned earlier, the shorts or the skirt section is quite slim against her legs. Again, just creating that almost bare presentation of her legs. The skirt is very thin, it's very body skimming, so that looks great. And here she has a patterned top on. It's not bulky, but the pattern gives it a little bit more visual weight to it. There's more going on. It's busier. This wouldn't be as impactful if the top had no print or just a small, gentle, tiny print. You need something that's a bit more bold. So again, try to find your version of balance. It doesn't need to be moderation, but there does need to be some sort of momentum of your outfit. Think about what kind of, approaches or what kind of proportions look great on you, and think about proportions in terms of not only actual sized proportions and ratios on your body, but the proportions of prints to solids, light fabrics to heavy fabrics, fitted items to more voluminous items, angles to roundness. Everyone has a different, kind of balance in terms of all of those elements. So you need to find what works for you, and that is part of the style journey. All right, moving on to Liza Minnelli. So Liza Minnelli loves to give off a very bright, highly defined image. She looks iconic when she does a lot of exaggerated, bright, clearly defined elements, from her hairstyle to her makeup. Her brows are also bold, well defined. Her eye makeup is exaggerated. She likes to exaggerate her lips as well. This is a different approach in terms of what to prioritize in comparison to Debbie. So let's take a closer look. Because Liza loves to give off that lively, spunky, sassy, I guess you could say quirky in a way, based off of her characters and her expressions, you need to exaggerate, and you can exaggerate, say, a neckline and the button-down center of your blouse. Big earrings, you can exaggerate with bold suspenders and a billowy top, so you're exaggerating both the top and the volume of the top, and exaggerating the more linear aspect of the suspenders since they're paired right next to each other. The contrast is just right there. Or with like a boa and a very angular cut and flared top and bottom. So just think about how to exaggerate elements in terms of size, in terms of shape, in terms of the way they fit on the body, and having those in close juxtaposition. All right, so she also likes to exaggerate corners and, again, contrast. So shoulder pads, the flare of the bottoms of her items, the fitted sleeves, the angular or oversized necklines, whether it's a big turtleneck like this one, or an angular V-neck, or just a really big Peter Pan collar. The corners and the oversized elements are very exaggerated, and she is also exaggerating proportions in terms of waist to legs, shoulders to head. She likes to really exaggerate her shoulders to make her hairstyle pop even more, and her head looks very, very round compared to her shoulders, and the roundness of her head and her hairstyle further emphasizes, the shape of her eyes that she loves to just really bring attention to, with that amazing, it's just beyond cat eye. It's like just that very bold black eyeshadow and liner look, and her eyebrows as well. So think about the shape of your shoulders compared to your head if you're going for this very bright, dynamic look that Liza has. And again, don't be afraid to go big. Subtlety is not a friend of the flamboyant Gamine who really wants to create an iconic look. Don't try to be subtle. That'll actually bring more attention to you for, I guess, the wrong reasons, because you won't blend in. Something will just look off, if that makes sense. Because if you're this kind of flamboyant Gamine who really resonates with this bold, sassy, fiery, spitfire image, trying to blend in just looks very off. It's like a fire trying to be a different color other than like red or blue. All right, and one last slide. Here are some photos of her in more bold and direct lines. So the lines that she's wearing are more sleek. They're more streamlined, more simple. And the effect is that it further exaggerates her yin. It makes her body actually look a little bit more delicate. You see the more delicate aspects of her body, the softer features of her limbs, maybe some softer components of flesh, and it really brings out the softness of her facial features as well. And this is not the case if she were to wear very yin heavy clothing. So if she were to wear like a frilly, soft, ruffly, very flowy and drapey top with ribbons, that would not exaggerate her little dose of yin. So again, you have to think about the proportions of yin and yang in your own body, your own features, even your own hairstyle, and play with that. So if you have a little bit of yin, wearing a lot of yin is not going to bring it out. But if you wear more yang, more streamlined, bold, direct, straight, linear, angular, streamlined, sleek, less intricate clothing, that will exaggerate your undercurrents because they're kind of the opposite. It's that juxtaposition, and it is unique to you. So I hope that helps, bring a little bit of food for thought in terms of figuring out what image you want to cultivate, what proportions you have, and all of that. I'll see you in the next video, and yes, I will finally do soft naturals. Bye.